How you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Great.
I'm happy. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to do this thing.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. Does it? So starting year 18, 17 years in the books here of doing mornings at WFA.
It's great. It's one of the best jobs I could have ever asked for, and lucky enough to be able to get. And unfortunately, it happened at somebody else's expense, which was back in 2007, a weird year. And here I am starting this 18th season, and it's been a remarkable run, to say the least, for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's been 99.9% of it has been off the charts. And the great thing is that I've worked with three guys, Jerry, Eddie, and Al, Eddie and Al for all of those years, and Jerry for a big part of those years, and now you for almost half of those years.
That's right. Yeah.
When you think about it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm very lucky. People always say, when do you think you're going to quit? And I said the day, or retire. I said the day that I feel like when I come here becomes work. Because if you love what you do, then it is not work.
That's right.
It's basically it's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be humorous. It's supposed to be entertaining, informational. You name it, we've been able to deliver it, and I've enjoyed every single moment of it, except for maybe about 6 months.
Yes, which was topsy-turvy and crazy.
Yeah.
They say if you find something you love to do, you never work a day in your life. That's what they say.
Somebody said it. I don't know who they are.
Yeah. Somebody had that one.
All right, so let me ask you a question.
Sure. Do you have a lozenge in your mouth?
I do.
Okay. Just making sure. I didn't know if you got some dental work done or something. Oh, it's a Buckley's. Oh, okay. You're not sick, are you?
No.
All right.
So I'm looking at the monitor in our studio here.
And it's a computer. Yeah.
And it's got a computer screen on. What does that mean?
I don't know.
What is that? How did that happen?
I'm not sure how it happened.
Are we cost cutting around here again or something? What's going on?
Jerry said it was like that last week when we came in this morning.
So I'm glad that someone decided to report that.
I mean, did he say anything to anybody?
He did not.
I don't understand that.
You got the remote? Does anybody have the remote?
I do.
You got it? Well, see what happens. There you go. Look at that. All you have to do is change the channel. That's all you had to do. And there we are. Now you got your CBS Sports Network on there.
Now I feel good.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great.
Now everything, you got your chair back.
Right.
You got your monitor on. You got your Buckley's in your mouth.
Yes.
And now you're ready for year 18.
Man, it's unbelievable, really, when you think about it. And, when we left here
3 months ago.
Yeah, it feels like that. When we left here 10 days ago, I was saying to you, like, this moment during the Mets season, as we get back into sports talk for one second.
Sports talk, yes.
I said that if they could come through this, and remember I was saying, could they go 6-4? Could they go 7-3 or 8-2? And they ended up going 7-3 on the road, which was amazing. Thankfully they were playing the White Sox
in there
at the end, but that's okay.
It's fine. You got to beat them.
Because unlike the Yankees, at least they're beating the bad teams.
That is correct, yes.
And, and they played well on the road, and they had some disastrous losses. And, we had some Edwin Diaz meltdowns. But, say what you want to say. Carlos Mendoza's got the team playing good. He's got them playing tough. They've taken some gut punches. They've come back from them. They've won some big games. And, what you just said it. They made themselves relative, and they're a half game out of the wild card. And, they're one of the teams that is surging right now. But the last, I think, 10 games of the season are going to be the real telltale sign because it's Philly, Atlanta, and Milwaukee.
Yeah, and bottom line is they've won 5 in a row, and they're a half game behind the Braves for the final wild card. I mean, that is incredible to sit here on September 2nd and that be the case. This team, and this is not recency bias, but this team has surprised me more than just about any Mets team in history.
Wow.
2015.
Is that hyperbole?
No. I was thinking about this. We'll see how the season ends up, but 2015 things were horrible, and then they end up, of course, having the Cespedes trade, and they go on this run. They make it to the World Series. That was the most surprising Mets team ever. This one is getting close to that. My expectations were so. Now I don't think they're going to the World Series. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that they're 10 games over 500, a half game out. I mean, it's insanity.
You know what it is? There aren't. I don't think anyway any great teams in Major League Baseball. Maybe with the exception of a healthy Dodgers team that is rolling.
Yeah.
And right now we start today. The Yankees still have the best record in the American League. It's just that they haven't played well over the last 30 to 40 games. They've been a very average, middling team, losing to bad teams, losing series to bad teams like St. Louis. And, and I don't know what Juan Soto was doing the other day in right field. It looked like he, I don't know, was on ayahuasca or something out there.
He's allowed.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's one of the reasons why you've won as many games as you have, especially early in the season. By the way, everybody's talking about Jason Dominguez from the Yankees' perspective. And I was saying, they could still bring him up at any point in time. And the thing about Alex Verdugo, as bad as he has been, people forget how important he was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, though.
I know, but he was an important part of their initial success.
And that's probably why they're hanging on, because the Yankees love to hang on to guys just a little bit too long. So that's probably why they're thinking, hey, if we can get that Verdugo that we got back in April and early May, then, man, we really got something. But
that was when everybody was saying that Judge was overpaid.
Right. But that's ancient history now.
Yeah, but the point being is that people tend to forget, it is a 162-game season. Both of these teams have, 24 games left, I think?
Yeah.
I think it's 24 games. It's a stretch run. I mean, it's exhausting. And even like last night, I don't know what went on with Cole last night.
He's got the calf situation.
Is that what it is? Better a calf than an elbow or a shoulder.
Yeah.
He only threw 100 pitches, I think.
A little strained calf spot for him.
Right. So give him a couple weeks. Maybe he goes a couple weeks. Who knows? And but this team is built, and I know it has its flaws. I'm not saying it doesn't, but this team is really built about October. When you think about all the veterans they have on this team, getting veterans back off the IL like Rizzo, it's all about those guys and an October run.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's about. I don't know if this team is actually built for October, because I don't know really what wins anymore. I don't even, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need your best players to play the best, and you're going to need to hit consistently and have Clay Holmes be someone who is not a disaster. That's really what it's going to come down to. The pitching will be okay. I don't think it's going to be a disaster for them. You're going to need the lineup to put up a ton of runs.
Yeah, they'll have to win 6-4, 6-5. Yeah, I mean, and if Cole's on the mound, maybe they'll get a 3-1 game, that kind of thing. You know how the playoffs tighten up. Everybody tightens up. It's the same thing in every sport. But I again, I'm not backing away at all from my proclamation that they will make it to the World Series.
You're not saying win the World Series. Saying I
said they'll make it to the World Series.
All right, so they will.
And they're probably going to, and most likely they're going to play the Dodgers. We know that.
I don't know that. The Arizona
that.
Diamondbacks ended up making it to the World Series last year. We've seen so many of these things. Baseball's a funny sport, Boomer. You never know what's going to happen. All you have to do is get in.
So this is my 18th year. I've heard that so many goddamn times. It's not even funny.
Well, that's why I bring it up, because that's all Stu Gatz did when he was filling in this summer, was say that. Every single point I brought up about the Yankees or Mets, he would go, baseball's a funny sport. You really never know what's going to happen. I was like, okay,
right.
Got to stop doing this.
For the Yankees, I would hope, I would like them to win the division. I don't want to see them playing in a wild card round. Now, some people say play in the wild card round because that's what baseball players do. They play every day, and you don't want to interrupt that. I think the Yankees have to win the division, have to get a break, and nurse it up, and then come out of the gates flying.
Nurse it up?
Nurse it up.
That's something I've never heard. You got to nurse it up, man.
Well, that's the great thing about this radio show. There's a lot of things that you've never heard before.
You never heard before. You never realized was a thing, and now nurse it up. You got to throw that in there, along with the winning is the deodorant of champions. So nurse it up to avoid that road filled with dead carcasses.
And how about this? Nurse it up. I mean, we're sitting here talking. We open with baseball, which we should because they're right in the mix. And we said, just please be relevant. And both teams are relevant. But we do have a football Friday coming.
That's right. It'll be the first football Friday. We'll have a football Thursday, too, with the first game of the season, the Ravens and the Chiefs. And then you've got the Friday game out in Brazil, which is just, I get the biggest kick out of these countries that are in turmoil. And then like the Olympics or the World Cup or the NFL rolls in there. And then everybody pretends everything's okay. And then they leave and then they just collect a check. It's just like the greatest thing in the
I
world.
think the one thing about, the game in Brazil is that nobody's going to be able to post anything on X.
That's right. Yeah,
Right? I
nothing.
think they shut them down.
They did. Yeah.
And by the way, the weird thing, and I heard this from somewhere, I pay attention, I listen, I read. I don't know if I read it, I saw it. The interesting thing about the Green Bay Packers traveling to Brazil is that their airport up there in Appleton can't handle the plane that they need to fly to Brazil. So I
mean, it
think
can't
that
handle it.
it's not a long enough runway. So
Well,
I think
they just
have
fly
to-
out of Wisconsin.
Well, they have to fly to Milwaukee.
You know what I mean, Milwaukee.
That's
Yeah.
a 2-hour drive.
Okay, tough.
Oh, all right, just want to let you know that.
Or why don't you just put them on a smaller plane to Milwaukee and then get on a bigger plane?
I guess you could do that too, but then that's
I
whatever.
mean, what?
I mean, I don't know when these teams are
I'm talking
leaving.
about a first world problem.
Do we have any idea when these teams are leaving? And I guess the NFL has told the players, be careful when you're out on the streets. I mean, you can say that about San Francisco too if you're an
You
NFL
can say
player
that
too,
about
I
here.
guess.
God, I mean,
Yes.
come on. You can say that about anything. I don't know when they're getting out there. I really don't know. It's just another one of these international games. I mean, I like the fact that it's on a Friday and they're allowed to get away with it for whatever reason on a Friday night. With some of the rules you've seen with TV and the NFL, you very rarely get these Friday night games. So you have that. So you got Thursday, Friday.
They figured out a Friday where they were not impacting the college football scene. Mm-hmm. They figured out there was a loophole.
Weaseled their way in there.
Oh, yeah, kind of. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're smart. They got smart guys over there.
You think?
Yeah,
Of course they do.
yeah. I mean, and I these games I'm not so excited for. I am really, really excited, though, to see, obviously, the local teams.
Right.
And to see if the Giants can
Now-
surprise. And, of course, the big story, Aaron Rodgers and staying healthy. But I'm not, I got to be honest with you, as much as I love football, for whatever reason, like this Thursday game with the Ravens and the Chiefs, I'm not quite there yet.
All right, well, you'll get there because that's on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea where the game between Philadelphia and Green Bay is on Friday night? What network that's on?
HGTV, the Property Brothers pregame show. I have no idea.
So you don't know?
I don't know.
Al, do you know?
I kind of have a feeling it's an Amazon game.
We started off year 18 pretty good, I think. We got things settled down around here now.
Yeah, I think so. I had a lot of people come up to me very disappointed that we did not work last week. More than ever.
But they know.
Yeah.
I mean, they should know if they listen to the station. This is the way it goes.
Yeah, just
Because we're not off again until Friday after Thanksgiving.
well, Thanksgiving. We'll be off Thanksgiving.
Well, everybody's off Thanksgiving.
All right, yeah.
Well,
And you're
except
actually off this Thanksgiving for reals.
for reals, for reals. Yes.
Wow. That's going to be something else. That's going to be great with the grandchildren and everything. Boom pa rolling in, stuffing the turkey.
But I am off 4 days in September.
You're off 4 days in September?
23rd, 4th,
That's the
5th,
big
and
yarn
6th.
Guy, it's gotta
thing.
be a yarn
that's
convention.
Big yarn thing convention, right?
Not exactly, but sort of.
Not exactly. But
Not
sort of.
exactly a big
But,
yarn
so
convention?
whatever you're doing involves yarn.
It does.
Do you and Marion use yarn for other reasons?
And no.
No.
Okay. 4 days. Are you missing a football Friday in there?
No.
Okay. All right. That's good. Like that.
By the way, I have to say the college football kickoffs were great.
Were your children happy with last night's
Boston
game?
College beat Florida State, of course.
That was a beatdown
It was a beatdown, and Florida State has lost 2 in a row now.
to unranked
great.
teams.
But I have to say, the 3 quarterbacks that really stood out over the weekend, for me anyway, in college football. One, of course, was Deion's son, Shador. Mm-hmm. Now, they should have beaten that team, and he looked great. The other 2 was the quarterback at USC and the quarterback at Notre Dame. Those 2 kids played what I thought were great football games. Tough football games against tough competition. this USC game against LSU was great. This is the Vegas game.
Yeah, Brian Kelly slammed his fist on the table, I saw, after this one.
Well, his team got his ass. Well, I don't want to say they got their ass kicked. But
Well,
I'll
he
tell you
just
what.
blew it in the fourth quarter. Is what
It was
happened,
interesting. They were showing how the USC players put on more weight. I don't know if you saw this.
I did not.
And there are about 10 players that literally put on, an extra 20 to 40 pounds.
Offensive and defensive linemen?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that'll do it.
It certainly has worked. And I just thought their quarterback was great. And by the way, LSU's got wide receivers, of course, as we all know. USC's got wide receivers.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's got wide receivers.
Everybody's got wide receivers.
I mean, there were some plays being made in these games that were just tremendous. Tremendous.